friends, it's Caitlin, and welcome back to the Floating Rock Podcast. I hope you're having the most incredible day ever. So, welcome back to part 2 of my interviewing seniors little episode, asking everybody what is the biggest lesson/growth you've had in the past 4 years. I hope you enjoyed last episode, and I'm so excited to show you the rest of the interviews. I hope you enjoy. Hi friends, so now we have my friend Skylar here with me. We've been friends for, I don't know, I've known of you kind of the whole time I've been here, but we only really got closer kind of this year. Mm-hmm. She's another screenwriting baddie, as you can tell if you're watching on YouTube. Anywho, but yeah, she's an absolute sweetie pie, and I don't know, any other things you have to say to introduce yourself?
No, I'm just so excited to be on the pod.
Yay! Oh, she is a committed listener to the Floating Rock Podcast, might I add.
Oh yeah, Tuesday mornings, me and Floating Pod.
Me and Floating Pod.
Floating Rock. 7 a.m.
Yes. I will say this week I did post late, but that's okay.
I did notice that because I was like, what am I supposed to get ready to this morning?
Did I have to sing to myself? I don't know. Wait, that's so funny. No, I was like, God, I know the real bitches are gonna clock this. And I was like, fuck. Anyway, because sometimes I'm late by a 10 a.m. kind of late, but I was late by a 10 p.m. kind of late, so not my best work, but that's okay.
But honestly, it's impressive how consistent you've been, every Tuesday.
Thank you, my queen. It's like the stress I give myself for fun, because I am only taking 3 classes. Anyway, though, the question of the day, what has been the biggest lesson/growth that you've had or taken away from these past 4 years?
Okay, I've been thinking a lot about this one. And I think honestly, it's if you can't find your community, create it.
Ooh, lovely.
And because I feel like the biggest thing that changed my Chapman career was a club I created. Shout out Women in Film Club.
Yes, Women in Film.
And I feel like this kind of goes along with this, but my other big thing is what you do from your hardships is what defines you. Because I think it's so easy when things are going great to be a great person. And I think how you react to the difficult things is what really shows what kind of a person you are. And I created this club after a terrible set experience. It was all guys, and no one would respond to me in the group chat. I would ask a question, no one responds. A guy asks the same question, and everyone responds.
Wait, I didn't even know this origin story. Keep going.
So I was on this terrible set. Totally my fault. I agreed to work with my boyfriend at the time. Terrible decision. Never do that.
Kill all men. Don't forget it.
Kill all men. And so after this experience where I just felt so demeaned as a woman, which honestly it was my first time really experiencing that. So I feel you hear about it, but in high school, I don't know.
It depends where you are, but for a lot of people I feel we just kind of hear it. People say oh, and as a woman in film, but until you have an experience like that, it's just whatever, I'm just a fucking girl in film. And then it just takes one experience to be so that's what they were talking about.
And so then I was going into my sophomore year, and I really just wanted to work with women because that was really the only way I could think of to make this not happen again. I was that was terrible. I want to work with more women, but I didn't really know that many girls in Dodge, our film school. So I literally was what if I just created a club for me to make friends?
Yes! You don't chase, you attract, period.
And then it turned out incredibly well. We have 200 members.
My bad.
Crazy.
That's awesome.
And it's been so rewarding to see what the club has done, and we've had our own film sets with the girls in the club, and hearing everyone talk about, we just had our screening for our second one. It was this last Friday, or Saturday, but all the girls were talking about how it was their favorite set they've ever been on.
Aww.
And it was such a good experience, and everyone was so nice to each other and kind, and that's just so incredible to hear that I had this bad experience, and then I stopped other people from having that.
Wait, I fucking love that. I the piece of advice I think I hear a lot on one of my favorite podcasts is it's not what happens to you, it's how you react to it. And I feel that's such a great point and fucking example of that, because then you could just go around saying kill all men, which is perfectly fine.
Oh yeah.
But I love how you created a whole fucking community out of it. And yeah.
No, I love that quote. And I also love the spin on it that's like, it's not the mistakes you make, it's how you react to them and what you do moving forward. Because as people, like, we all make mistakes. Like, it happens constantly. And I feel like that's how you realize the kind of things that you don't want to do in the future.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, yeah, like, it's all about your reactions to what's going on in your life and how you come out of it and how you don't do it again or how you move forward. Because I genuinely think, like, it's so tragic. Like, there's so many people with such tragic backstories, but I feel like there's this really defining line. Like, when you hear about someone with a tragic backstory, it's either that they're really struggling and they haven't really done much with their life, or they're struggling with addiction or something like that, or they're like Malala, you know? Like, just doing all these incredible things. And like, both these people had terrible things happen to them, but it's like what they did from that that made them who they are.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting too that you bring that up, because sometimes when you haven't had the hardest life ever, it's kind of hard to like tap into that quote or that advice, because you're like, okay, like what am I fully pulling from? Like, there are people who like whatever. So it is interesting to think about that. Another like quote that I really like is like, people are like with less than you are doing more than you. And so that one's a little bit more harsh advice, but like, I don't know, it's just like, it gets a fire going under your ass about like, you know, like, you could have less, but like, almost does that motivate you more?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I love that.
So interesting. Wait, I love your answer. I'm trying to think if I have like I've like been asking a few follow-up questions. I'm trying to think. Oh my god. Wait, I'm blanking. I haven't blanked it today. Damn it.
It's been a long day.
I know. Let's just do an ASMR episode now. Is there any advice maybe you'd have for someone who wants to turn around? Oh my god, wait, I have one more thought actually before that. I like the idea of like the whole like reacting to like what bad things maybe happen to you. I like the idea too of like being conscious and perhaps leaning in when things are like not good, because genuinely, like, if I think about my whole time in college, the worst part is the part that I grew the most from. And I'm like, I feel like it's going to be hard to like keep that at the top of your mind, obviously, but I'm like, I love the idea of moving forward in life and being super conscious of the bad times and be like, oh, but this is going to propel the fuck out of me.
Oh yeah. And that's a thing that I think about all the time, because something that one of my friends said to me was like, no one grows from being comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, the times of growth are the times of uncomfortability.
Yeah.
And like, that's just been so true in my life. Like, I don't know that I would have made that club if I didn't have that terrible experience.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you need to have these bad things happen so that you can thrive from them. But yeah, like, if you're comfortable and you're happy and everything is good, you're not gonna like drastically change your life. It's when things aren't going exactly how you wanted that you really have the opportunity to like be whoever you want.
Yeah. I love the idea of like, if like going up was like growth and uncomfortable like growing pains, if life just kind of went up, then plateaued at and then up, and then plateaued at because then you just grow and you're like, holy shit, and then you like reap the benefits, and then it's like, okay, time for another dose of growth, you bitch.
Yeah.
I love that. But I guess my last little thing I was going to ask you earlier was like, I don't know, any advice for someone to like, that's a big risk and like choice and just decision to like kind of put yourself out there, be El Presidente of the Women in Film Club. Like, I don't know, for anyone who wants to like create a community for themselves, do you have any advice for that?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I have two pieces of advice. The first one is be careful of who you choose to start it with.
Ooh.
Because I think when I started this club, of course, I had to create an exec board, and I just asked all my friends.
Yeah.
And while that's great, and I love that, it ended up being really hard when people weren't like putting into the club what I wanted people to put into it, or like not like showing up to meetings, and like you have to have that hard conversation with your friend, and like that's always hard. And I think like just being like, when you're starting it, really like being intentional with like who else you're like starting it with, because I think just in starting anything, like it's so important to like have people that are going to be committed and like do things by deadlines and like people you can rely on.
Similar to like almost like choosing who to live with is like not only are we good friends and click, but there's like more technical aspects of are you clean, or like you said, like can you turn in things on time, like are you reliable?
Yeah. And then the other one I feel like is just to give it a try. Like literally, I feel like none of us have ever had an individual experience in our life. Like, we always see those, I always see those TikToks of, like, oh, yeah, like, remember when this happened? I'm like, oh, I definitely thought that only happened to me. Like, I definitely thought that was an only me thing. Like, your people are out there, and, like, you just have to find them. Yeah. Like, and if you work hard enough and you get your idea or whatever you're trying to create, like, out there enough, like, you will find your like-minded people. So I feel like just, like, get beyond caring what people think. Like there were a couple of people, even like some of my friends, that when I started Women in Film Club were just like, oh, like why would you do that? And it was just like, for me, I was like, what do you mean why would I do that? Like, what? And one of them was like, well, like you're already in this other community. It's like, yeah, but like I want this specific community. And honestly, like if you want it, like go do it. Like it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, like, because it's the same thing with like being like a content creator. Like everyone's like, oh, like, but what if people, okay, like, but if this super successful person worried what other people think, they wouldn't be where they are. Exactly. So like the people that are so worried about that aren't going anywhere. Yeah, like how will you ever get fish if you never cast the rod? That was a new one. I liked it. Probably not original though, but I love that advice, and so inspiring. Create a community. I hope one day the pod will, we already have a mini community going, but hopefully it happens. Because if you put out who you are authentically and what you want, you will attract like-minded people, even if it's not that many. Yeah. And it's like, and low-key, keep it tight. Quality over quantity. As fuck. Well, thank you for coming on the pod, Skylar. Thank you for having me. And on to the next. Hi, friends. So next up, we have my friend Elisa. Hey. So we have been on the same dance team for the past 4 years. As me and Elisa talked about, it's called 413. Yeah, I had her on. What about it? Okay, you're cheating on me. Okay. But it's been so fun. And also, Elisa's another woman in film, which is so awesome. And we've gotten closer, I feel like, these past 2 years, which has been freaking rad. She's also my Asian twin, which we love. And is there anything else you want to say to introduce yourself? No, I think you kind of summed it up. Love it. It's basically me. Hi, guys. Not much to it. Anyway. Okay. Oh, okay. You know what? I'm going to leave now. No, I'd love to see, like, the dynamic switch between everybody. But anyway, question of the day is, what is, like, the biggest lesson or growth that you feel like you're taking away from these past 4 years? Wow. That's a big one. That's a loaded question. Yeah. And I think I do have multiple answers to it. I'll take them all. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Wait, how about I give you the options? Oh, okay, and then you can tell me which one. Choose my own adventure. I have like 2 options, I think. Love it. The first one being that open and honest communication is really hard but always worth it. Oh, the second one being you don't matter as much to everyone else as you think. You know what? I think I'd love to hear both, but let's start with the first one. Okay, great. Yeah. So I think over the course of the 4 years at Chapman, I've had a lot of ups and downs, obviously. A lot of ups and downs within my personal life as well as my professional life. And something happened today, actually, that made me think of this question. Perfect timing. I was getting coffee with one of my friends. Cheating on me, Karen. Of course. Yeah. Why, of course. And she was telling me a story of someone that she had worked with who had asked her to design something, and she worked really hard and spent a ton of hours on this one project and submitted a couple drafts and, asked, how does it look? Are you happy with it? And then he totally ghosted her. And then come the day of, like, the reveal of the project, she saw that he went with someone else. Bruh. And he had asked her to design. Mm-hmm. So something similar had happened as well with one of my projects. Ooh. Where I had asked someone to do something for one of my projects. And then we kind of collaborated back and forth for a bit. At the end, it wasn't quite
right for the project and I had to move in another direction. And I communicated openly and honestly with them, and I said, hey, I'm so sorry, we're gonna have to pivot, it just doesn't fit the project quite right, but I really appreciate your work and I want to thank you for all that you've done. And to hear this friend go through a very similar experience but not have that open communication given back to her, she's now no longer going to work with this person ever again. And I think it just goes to show how important open, honest communication, even though it's really hard, is always worth it, because you might be burning bridges if you don't. You hurt feelings unintentionally if you don't. And it's always just better to be the bigger person, I think. I also am a very heavy believer in karma.
Ooh, tea.
So.
Wait, I love that. I feel like that, like, reminds me of, me and my roommates were just talking about, like, people, like, being on time and stuff, and, like, I don't know, kind of just that stuff. I feel like that kind of fits into of, like, you can be late all you want, or, like, whatever, bring whoever, but as long as you just communicate. And I feel like in so many situations, it's like, you, like, what makes everything worse is the fact that you didn't know in any situation of, like,
exactly,
that person could have stopped working on it so much earlier if she had just known, or, like, it's just, like, knowing. And I think it's, like, people just hate being, like, lied to or just being fake. So, like, just saying, like, hey, like, what you did was, hey, like, thank you so much, I think we're going in a different direction, like, that's great. And they can't be mad at you for going in a different direction.
Exactly.
But they can be mad at you for, like, wasting their time or lying to them or whatever. I love that. And then what was your second point?
The second lesson I feel like I've learned these past 4 years is that you don't matter. Thank you for listening to the Floating Rock podcast. Bye. No one matters except for me. No, I don't matter.
We know. I'm sorry, keep going.
Fuck off. I'm gonna restart. I don't matter as much to everyone else as I thought I did, in the best way possible. I feel like freshman year I came into college as a very anxious person. I did not raise my hand in class, nor did I speak, like, the entire year. I would get super anxious going into the caf and thinking, oh my gosh, if I'm seen eating alone, everyone's gonna think I'm the biggest loser. Or in my classes, oh my gosh, if I make a really bad project, if I turn something in, if my presentation sucks, like, everyone is going to remember me as the girl whose presentation sucked. And I carried this anxiety with me throughout a majority of college, and I don't really know when the flip switched for me, but at one point I kind of, like, took a step back and I looked around and I realized everyone was so in their own world that they were not thinking of me as much as I thought that they would. They weren't perceiving me as much.
I perceive you all the time, but carry on.
And the only person that really cared about everything I was doing was myself. And that honestly was a really weirdly negative but comforting thing for me, in the sense that I stopped overthinking anything that I was doing. I stopped overthinking how I was acting in public, or how I was going about my different projects, or how I was being, like, how I was acting in class, because I realized, you know, even if I fuck up on a project, or even if I am seen sitting alone, or even if I'm, like, wearing a certain shirt that doesn't look quite right, no one is going to remember. No one's going to notice except for you. And the things that people will remember are the, like, positive impacts that you make in their life. And arguably, too, the people who do remember that dumb stuff, like, look at them. Like, I feel like anyone who I know, or, like, don't really even know that well, who I've heard harp on, like, some little shit someone did or wore or whatever, I'm like, girl, like, ugly behavior. But I totally agree with that. It's funny to think about, like, the certain moment where that switched for you, or to just think back to when that wasn't true, because I totally can remember freshman year, the fear of eating in the cafe, and, like, I can fully confidently say, like, I still had the fear of, like, what will people think? I'm trying to think of, like, I don't quite know when that stopped, but, like, or, like, when it started to phase out, because obviously it's hard to just, and I'm done caring what people think, but, like, it's so interesting to think, because everyone's, like, arc on that is different.
I actually wonder, there's a girl on our dance team who's very, very wise, and I wonder, like, who's a freshman, and I feel like, I'm like, I wonder if these younger girls or, like, generations, even just, like, a couple years below us, if they have the potential to be more, like, emotionally intelligent and, like, have this stuff in their brain, because now that there's content out about it. Because I feel like, I don't know, like, just back freshman year, like, how much content was I consuming or, like, was really out about, like, don't care people, I don't know, like, obviously it existed, but I just feel like I never really was intaking that. And I'm like, I wonder if I would have really used it, or if it really just is your own journey and you have to realize that on your own. I don't know, but I think that's interesting to think about, like, are the girlies, like, maybe more in shape at the gym because there's more gym content, like, the younger people, because they're, like, they can consume stuff about that. I don't know.
Right? That's a really good question.
I know.
I feel like in general, we've just been consuming a lot more content nowadays than we were, like, 3 years ago.
Right, I just feel like these 4 years, like, the content amount and the kind of content is different.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe there are a lot more people nowadays online that are showcasing that nothing really matters as much as you think. Yeah,
because I feel like COVID was kind of like the influencer boom, and that was back when influencers were perfect. And now that we know that what people love about influencers is they're relatable and whatever, but I'm just like, even I think about senior year and, like, freshman year, I'm like, I feel like the content was still just funny kind of stuff. It was just funny. What Musically was. It was either funny or it was lip singing or dances. Yeah. I'm like, I don't quite remember constructive self-help stuff being a thing 4 years ago, or at least being that popular. But now I feel like within the past 2-ish years, 3-ish years, like, that's been, like, a huge boom. That's been interesting.
Maybe a theory is that I think back freshman year, like, when we were both scared of eating alone at the caf, we had this huge feeling and desire to, like, assimilate, to fit in with everyone else. And if you were sitting alone, that means you're sticking out. Yeah. But nowadays, everyone can be their own person online. Anyone can be an influencer. Yeah. Anyone can post their personal life online, and everyone is seen as an individual. Yeah. And maybe that's something that's influencing people positively.
That is really interesting, though. I wonder, it almost makes it like, is there even an in-group if everyone's kind of... Because I feel like there was the era of being like everyone, and now everyone wants to be like other girls, or not be like other girls. So I'm like, are we in the era of, like, individualism? And I wonder if that fear of not being in the in-group in general has just kind of, like, depleted. Like, I wonder if the state of the internet, state of the world, I can't believe that's the state of the world, state of the internet, but if that would affect us. Like, if we had that same realization or whatever, like, oh, no one really cares, but the internet was still very in-group, if it would be as prominent in, like, our own brains and lives. Yeah. Or if we'd even make that realization.
True. That's a good question to ask.
So interesting. I love it. Well, thank you for inciting such an interesting conversation.
Oh, of course, girl. And thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. Thanks for coming on. All right. Bye, friends.
Bye.
Hi, friends. So now we have my friend Carsen with us. I've known Carsen since, like, 7th grade, and we are now graduating college. So that's actually, I think I thought about it the other day. I've known you for 10 years.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's actually really nuts. Damn.
That's nasty. But we've been doing drama, or we did drama together all throughout middle and high school, and now for some reason we still see each other on film sets. So, like, we're never going to escape each other.
Yeah, we can't get rid of each other. It's crazy.
Yeah, but anyway, is there any way you'd like to introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Carsen. First off, I just wanted to say it's an honor to be on the podcast finally.
Oh my God, yay!
This is great. It's been a long time coming, I think, being a guest at all.
The second I posted it, you're like, I'm just waiting for my inbox to be filled with that Floating Rock email.
Yeah. But I'm excited to be on this finally. Yeah. Hell yeah.
But anyway, question of the day, as we know, is what is the biggest growth / lesson that you've had these past 4 years?
Okay, so I actually did some thinking about this.
Love it. I love when you think.
Basically, I'm hearing my tummy. I hope that doesn't...
You just farted on camera.
Oh no, I need to use the bathroom. So I have two things.
Love it.
2 points. And they might contradict each other.
Even better.
The first one is, and this advice resonates with me, and it's sort of like I'm going to stand on my soapbox, is say yes. That's the first thing. Literally, no matter what opportunity comes your way, just say yes. Because college, are we talking in terms of college?
Yeah, it could be past 4 years in general or college itself.
Definitely the biggest takeaway for me was there's a lot of things that are going to come on your path. You'll meet a lot of new people, you'll have a lot of new opportunities, things that like sort of pique your interest, and you're sort of met with yes or no. And again, my take is say yes, because in college and just in life, you'll just be met with so many opportunities, and the opportunities that I have said yes to have opened more opportunities and have met more people and more opportunities, and just it builds on itself.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately that's just good for a number of reasons: career, personal growth, just like making friends, just learning things ultimately. Yeah, say yes. Even if you want to do it scared, say yes. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, it's hilarious. Now 2 people have said that so far. But not that you're not original. I just think it nails it in how important that is.
Yes.
I like the thing I heard once. I think I have it up on my quote board. It's say yes, figure it out later.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you've, from what I know at least, done a lot of that. Like these past 4 years of like saying yes to like being a boom op, and you didn't know how to do that, but you said yes and figured it out later. And I feel like you gained so much from that.
Yeah, like one specific example that I really like bringing up is I, like Caitlin, I also want to go into the film industry. And there was an opportunity to go to my friend's house during the LA fires and drive all the way to LA. I don't have a car. Tavin, who's going to be on this podcast, drove me. But there was an opportunity. I could have said no, and it would have been very easy to say no. But because he's my friend, I went, obviously, of course. And then I met someone there, and they gave me an internship opportunity. It was really good. It's very much like I said yes to this opportunity, and that opened up another opportunity for me after I graduate.
Hell yeah.
So that's just one little nugget of like, say yes to things. Also, if you say yes to certain things and it doesn't kind of go the way you want it to, you learn something. Ultimately, I think learning is the biggest thing. It's why we're here, I think. I think knowledge is ultimately what we're supposed to do, I guess.
Yeah. What was your second one?
My second one was, it's kind of contradictory.
Okay.
But it's okay to say no.
Love it.
It's okay to say no. And what I mean by that is in college, I just say primarily college, because in these past 4 years, I've just learned so much, and there's so many things coming at you. You're meeting new people and meeting new perspectives, which is also why it's a great thing to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
But there are going to be a lot of things that you'll meet or interact with, people you meet, situations you're put in that you can't control. And sometimes this makes you really uncomfortable, and it makes things really difficult for you in your life. And sometimes, like, it's okay to say no, kind of
saying
thing.
No for the betterment of like
Of
your
you.
mental health
Yeah,
or your safety,
exactly.
even sometimes. Or
Yes, I think a lot of people get stuck in their head a lot of the times, or get really hard on themselves for being in difficult situations and not knowing the right, I guess, decision, whether to stick through something or to bail. And that's really tough. I mean, hey, we're always in situations like that, and ultimately at the end of the day, it's okay to say no.
I mean, I agree. I feel like sometimes a no can help you out just as much as like a yes, where like I feel like, have you ever heard like the advice of keep the promises you make to yourself, and that's how you gain confidence, is because you can trust yourself? What I was thinking was like, I feel like on the note of keeping the promises to yourself, like sometimes a no like can just give you so much more confidence in that, like maybe people are like, come on Carsen, come out tonight, but you putting your foot down and saying a no could actually show you so much that like you actually respect yourself and value your time and your sleep because you have a test tomorrow, like stuff like that. And like, while the night out, maybe even the same night out as a yes could have been so fun and crazy, I think you can also gain so much from like respecting your time and your energy and putting your foot down where you need to.
That actually reminded me of a recent experience I had. So I'm a creative writing major, and yesterday everyone in my major had the opportunity to present a piece or like read out loud in front of us, presenting their stuff they've written over the course of the semester. I did not want to read my piece, especially being there. Like, it further cemented it. It was a very like nice space. What people were reading was like pretty good, and I didn't have the fullest confidence in what I would read. And then my capstone professor, just sort of whispered my name in the back, in the back of the audience, because he was leading it. He's like, Carsen. And I was like, okay, I have to say yes. I went up there. I was incredibly nervous. I was shaking, and then I read, and it didn't go the best, obviously, because I was really nervous. I went into that thinking that it's okay to say no, but what I really should have done was say yes. And in both situations, I learned from both. So either way, like, no matter what you do, you're gonna learn something. But I highly recommend saying yes. And if I could do that over again, I would say yes. Because I learned from that. And honestly, the more you say yes, the more you learn, the more you can say yes to even more things. Like, things that you're terrified of, just put yourself in situations that will make you more uncomfortable, but that will push you to saying yes more. And that's really difficult. I mean, everyone goes through that.
Well, thanks for coming on, King.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Hopefully we'll see you again.
Please. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Hi, friends. So now we have my friend Quillan. I have been in the same adventure-loving friend group as Quillan for like, I don't know, 2 years now.
Don't act like you don't want to be part of the friend group.
I do want to be part of the friend group.
Friend
That's
group.
what I just said. We're in the same friend group.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a computer science major. He pivoted recently to pursue more fun things. But yeah, want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Quillan. I do board games, video games, anything in creative production. So hire me, please.
The question of the day.
Yeah.
What is the biggest lesson/growth that you think you've taken away from the past 4 years?
Okay, biggest lesson/growth.
Yes.
Well, I had therapy today, and I was
Lovely.
kind of in the realm of talking about like not caring what other people think of you, and that is like a big thing that like you kind of discover at college, where like nobody at college gives a fuck about you. You're just like doing your own thing. And I think in high school it's more like you're centered around like everybody's watching me and the way I dress and the way I act, how smart I am. I think in college everyone has their strong suits, and like at the end of the day it really just is how you look at yourself.
Yeah.
And like if you can look at yourself and say, hey, I'm like a pretty decent guy, I'm an average Joe.
One day you'll make it there, yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
like we're getting somewhere, then you're good. And like if you're content with who you are, then all goes well. And if you're happy with who you are, then like that's life. So that's all to say, like just don't care about what other people say. I know it's like really basic, but it's honestly like I feel like it's the key to life.
Very cute. Is there anything that you feel like you personally have, like, I don't know, seen a lot of growth in, maybe when it comes to like outside opinions? Like, is it maybe the smart, or you mentioned outfits, I don't know, but like, yeah.
I think one is like the way like socializing is a big thing. I think like before I used to struggle a lot with how I like introduce myself and how I am perceived in like a social setting. But now like I couldn't care less. Like I don't care how I act at parties, because like you may not see the same people. Like if you meet someone at a party, chances you see them again are slim. Maybe not at Chapman, but like if they don't fuck with you, they don't fuck with you. And if you don't fuck with them, you don't fuck with them. Like it's just like the way it goes. Socializing, and then like academics wise, I think everybody's smart. And Max said this one time. Everybody's like smart in their own way. Even if you may not be smart in English or math, you are still smart in like maybe like music production or like TV production or screenwriting or wherever that takes you. Just like, hey, maybe you're not that good in like
maybe you're not good at anything.
Maybe you're just stupid. Maybe you're just stupid.
Then you
can't
talk
do
into a
anything.
camera.
Then, oh yeah, maybe you're just stupid and you have no strengths at all. Then
and that's why you're here.
Then you're fucked. Yeah, then you get a Floating Rock podcast. Yeah, I hit a low.
Okay, wait, we love the answer there. Do you feel like was there a year in particular you feel like that transformation, if you will, happened? Or was that Like, do you think that was a freshman year, like, okay, lock in? Or was it maybe, like, partway through and,
No.
like, you gain friends, lose friends, you're like, wait, no one cares, nothing matters?
Yeah. I think, like, freshman year is kind of when you, like, experience the whole, because, like, it's transition period. So you're in the mindset of the high school mindset of everyone is looking at me and perceiving me. In college, you honestly I feel like you want people to like you because there's like a whole new environment you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Like after your freshman year and after you like kind of break off from like your original friend group that, you know, that like classic friend group that you don't vibe with.
The first weeker.
Right, that first week or like first year.
Yeah.
For me, it was like 2 years.
Oh.
But honestly, for me, it was like junior year.
Oh, okay.
With like that whole friend group.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that they're not like super cool people. Like they're chill, they're super cool. I think we just like went our own paths, and you know, that's that.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I was just talking to my friend the other day about like, dislike is a strong word, but like I feel like in college it's the most I've ever met people and then gotten to know them and been like, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
And like almost in a good way of, I
Yeah.
think sometimes you think, oh, I have to like everyone has to like me.
Right.
But I think that's like one of the biggest lessons people learn in
Mm-hmm.
college is like, you're allowed to like not love people, and then they just don't need to be in your life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then vice versa, like if you really fuck with people, like make them be in your life.
Oh yeah. I don't want to like stray people away from like not meeting more people because it's always good to like.
But I think that's what it is at school, is you're meeting so many people,
Right,
and then
right.
that's the first time you get to actually, what's the word? Stretch the muscle of
Yeah.
getting to move away from people or move closer to people.
Yeah. What is your answer for that question?
I told them,
Them.
it was being like authentically yourself and putting yourself out there was mine.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
like kind of in the same realm.
Everyone's advice kind of can touch similar things, I think,
Yeah.
because we're all living the same 4 years. It's like, what, 18 to 22-ish?
Uh-huh.
If you're not a child. But yeah, it's just interesting. Carson asked me, he was like, oh, what, like, are you saying college or like the past 4 years? But I think what's interesting about college is it's those 4 like really pivotal years of like you turn an adult and then you are legally drinking, and I don't know, they're like so important, and it just gets put in like the college bucket.
You said finding yourself. Like,
Being authentically yourself.
okay, being authentically yourself.
Kind of like what you said, of like showing up to a party, not caring how you're
Yeah.
acting, and just being authentically who you are, because you will attract people who like
Yeah.
the authentic you.
I think that's also like super confusing because what if like you think you're being yourself and you're not, you know? Because then you're still like yourself if you think you're yourself, but like you're also growing.
Yeah, I think it's like a process.
Is that confusing? I don't know.
No, I know what you mean, because sometimes you can think a version of yourself, like, that is me, and then 2 years later, you're like, oh,
I
no,
know.
it wasn't.
Yeah.
But you grow
Yeah.
out of it, and that's why you can look back and say, that wasn't me.
Right. Yeah, I've looked back on like my like high school like freshman year self. God, that guy was cringe. And then I'll probably look back on
Was
this
is
guy.
a strong word.
Okay. All right, buddy.
Okay.
Dude, look at yourself. Look in the mirror.
No, I know, this is so embarrassing. Okay.
There's 2 monkeys in the camera right now.
Okay, well, thanks for coming on, Quillan.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed his insights. Bye-bye. Hi, friends. So now we have my friend Nivi. We lived together sophomore year. We had like a really cute like meet. We had such a good meet cute, actually.
First top floor,
Like,
Henley.
yeah, she like pulled up wearing this like sustainable streetwear brand, and I was like,
Oh my god, Broken Planet.
Broken Planet Market. And I was like, wait, I thought this was so underground. Like, I didn't know anyone else cared about it like this.
It is underground, and I stand by
Right?
that. Like,
We instantly clicked, and then we danced in the rain a few months later, and then we just like
Wait.
lived together and shared a room.
yeah, we just
Yeah.
lived together.
We moved fast,
We
if you
did.
will.
It progressed really fast.
Yeah, but I guess, is there any way you want to introduce yourself to the friends?
Sure. Hi, friends. I'm Nivi. I am graduating.
We're graduating!
I work in the legal field as a legal assistant. I feel like I'm doing my elevator pitch right now, but
Which
in
it's a good
very,
practice.
very informal way. I'm very excited. I'm moving home. I'm studying for the LSAT, and I'm going to apply to law school, so it's been hectic but fun. And I'm excited for a gap year to travel. I'm going to Puerto Rico in July.
Yes!
So I'm super excited to get my salsa on.
Yes.
But yeah.
Wait, so fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to be living in a jungle.
Yay! Join me in that.
I will.
Well, yeah, I guess question of the day. What is the biggest lesson / growth that you feel like you're taking away from the past 4 years?
Yeah, I think, and this is going to sound so cliche, but it's just move forward with positivity and always have a smile on your face. And I think that, especially when you're in college and you're constantly going, there's a lot of stress, and that can lead to anxiety and all of these other negative feelings. And when you're around that so much, it's really hard to stay positive sometimes. And that could just be like you're in the midst of finals week and you have this final and this final and this final, and everything feels like it's building up, and there just might not be time or space to be positive, and you're always moving very quickly. And I think that it's important to kind of start to tolerate that. And it's this new word that I've learned, distress tolerance.
Distress tolerance.
Distress
Please
tolerance.
define her.
And so that is just being okay with being in these situations of uncomfortability. Uncomfortability? Uncomfortability.
Yeah, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an incomfortable.
Yeah.
You
had it.
Being in, just being okay with being uncomfortable and knowing that there's no perfect solution right now. You're going to have to be okay with it. And in that, I think, comes the positivity. And I think those two go together. Like being tolerant of that stress and anxiousness or whatever that negative emotion is, and letting positive feelings and thoughts and your mindset come first. And so I'm trying to still do that. I'm someone that gets very stressed, very anxious very easily, especially if I feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And that can lead me to shy away or shut down. But I think that if I'm more positive to myself and others, it'll help me in the long run. And it'll help me kind of overcome and be comfortable with all of those emotions. So that's my takeaway as I progress into law school and LSAT. I'm kind of leading with that in the front of my mind.
Yeah. Wait, I love that. It's kind of like the theme of the fucking Floating Rock podcast. But yeah, I love that. And how, I feel like you can be in any situation, but being negative just will not help you at all.
Yeah. And it's okay to feel those emotions, I think. It's okay to have those going through your mind, but it's about like decatastrophizing them and kind of breaking it down and then being like, okay, let me tackle what I can tackle. Let me sit with it, do whatever you want with those. But don't let it overcome you, and kind of let those, be more kinder to yourself and just be more positive. Smile.
Yeah.
Smile.
Because I feel like you are one of the busiest, go-getteriest people I feel like I know, like took the most classes and like doing the most jobs and the most applications. I don't know. You do a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like you are probably like under a lot of stress a lot. Is there anything that you have done to like help yourself move towards being more positive about stuff? Like, is there any technique that you kind of do or content you consume? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so as you said, like when you're on the go, your mind is often going very, very fast and often too fast that you can't process. So something that I've started, and let me preface this by saying I hate journaling.
Okay.
I hate journaling. I hate it. I think it's stupid. I like lists and stuff like that. Okay. I hate journaling. I've tried it.
It's not for everyone.
Stuck. It's not for everyone.
You have enough things to write.
Yes, so I'm like...
You have enough to write.
But I will say that this technique has helped me slow down those thoughts and really allows me to pinpoint what exactly I'm stressed about or anxious about. So I've started writing down when I feel that those feelings emerge. I've started writing down what is coming into my mind.
Okay.
And that just kind of allows me to decipher what I'm thinking, and it allows my mind to slow down enough so I could really process my thoughts. And it's not just one after the other. And it's not legible.
That's okay.
80% of the time, but it's at least something that I can slow it down and try and figure it out instead of just letting it overflow and come in too fast.
Could you give me like an example of one maybe?
Sure. I mean, if I have
certain things to do in a day, like if I have to go to court and then I also have to finish a paper and I also have to like even stuff like clean my room or walk my dog and go to the gym. That it's when I have that I tend to get overwhelmed or stressed out. And so then I don't have enough time in the day. And that comes into I don't have enough time in the day and then it spirals. It's how am I going to get this all done?
Yeah.
And so when I have those emotions and I feel that feeling of anxiousness rise up, I start writing down what it is I'm anxious. I'm saying, need to walk max, need to go to court, need to be back by this time and this time.
Yeah.
And then it kind of helps me. It's not about solving it. It's just about slowing it down enough so I can process what I'm thinking. Because I think the anxiousness comes from the inability to actually capture what you're feeling and what you're thinking.
Yeah.
So it's just about slowing it down. And then after I've slowed it down, I can be like, okay, these are the 5 things I need to do today. What can I cut out? When can I do it? What may I not be able to do?
Maybe you can like combine things. Like,
what can I combine? What can I outsource to someone else? How can I ask for help? Maybe I can ask my dog walker to walk Max. You know, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just like that's like an example of like how I kind of process that stress.
So interesting. I love that because I
sorry.
feel like I've heard that a lot of like if you were to try and say everything that you were thinking or write down everything, you can't move as fast as your brain. And like that's what anxiety is. It's just like it's the whoop.
It's the
Yeah, and if you put it down, it like tangibilizes how like I don't know, catastrophic the thought is. It's like I can't get everything done today. It's like, okay, babe, let's make a list.
Yeah, but you can though.
Yeah, and you can figure it out.
You can't, but that's okay. But there's no need to
worry like that.
Wait, I love that. And I do think it goes hand in hand in just being positive. For me, at least, is because, like, I get negative when I feel overwhelmed and anxious and stressed. And that can come out on other people. And it can come out on myself.
Yeah.
And so we don't want that.
We don't.
So it's just about kind of being okay with feeling those things and moving forward in a way that's productive.
We love that.
So, yeah,
Hey.
That's my 2 cents.
Wait,
that's what I'm thinking.
it.
That's what 4 years of college has
I
given
mean,
me.
I think that's a pretty important takeaway, honestly.
I do too.
Because, I mean, the rest of your life, you got to move forward and hopefully do it positively. Yay. Thank you for coming over.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, friends.